the struggle of emerging into a butterfly. And we can use the word struggle, but let's be real, it is so miraculous. It is so beautiful. And it is so worth it when you're finally on the other side and living fully in your purpose. So, before I introduce y'all to Dill, I would love Ayana. Why is this topic so important to you?
Yes, thank you, Maya. This topic is so important because I'm in it right now. I feel like I'm in different stages of the metamorphosis. On the one hand, I'm still the caterpillar that is learning and that feels comfortable and that's sitting in the knowing of how things are meant to be. But on the other hand, I'm also in that cocoon and really transforming and transmuting and feeling my entire body almost discombobulate into this new. And that is my coaching, my soul purpose, my spirituality coming through. And I also feel like I'm already that butterfly flying around and living in abundance. You know, I have these moments of clarity and just vision and excitement. And I'm like, yes, I'm flying. So it's like I'm at all of the stages at the same time, experiencing all the things at the same time. And so this is so important to me because I feel like so many of us in the moment that you're feeling that doubt or that you're feeling like, oh, this feels uncomfortable. I don't know what's happening. Am I changing? Are the people around me changing? We pull back. We step back into our caterpillar. We step away from that full transformation. We stop ourselves on the brink of something super amazing. And then we say, oh, that didn't work out. Right. And so I want to have this conversation so that we go move into it. We actually allow ourselves to step out of the cocoon because it's not that we're not all butterflies. It's that we stop ourselves and we stay in the cocoon because we think there's only darkness outside, when in actuality, there is so much light. And so I'm really, really excited about this conversation and really excited to be having Dill on board, who is our amazing oracle coach, spiritualist, intuitive. And so, Dill, I would like to ask you the same. Why is this topic so important to you?
Thank you so much, Maya and Ayana. I am so excited for this topic because similar to y'all, I'm also in it. I'm sure that's a no surprise because as we are all really raising our vibration and really honoring and walking on our path of soul purpose and soul embodiment, we know one of the things for a period of transition, transformation, metamorphosis is a shift in our relationship dynamics with others as well, you know? So really seeing um, who are the folks still around me in a positive, affirmational, mutually beneficial way versus which relationships perhaps are drifting away due to a lack of common ground or really an inability to sustain a conversation, or you know, even just to be real about the shadows of going through this painful transformation is like, yo, which relationships do we actually lose in ways that we didn't even expect, right? People that you could consider your closest friends, your most treasured allies, teammates, you know, chosen family. I mean, for me, that's what's definitely been a part of what has essentially been a major 2-year transition period that I'm getting on the other side of in this metamorphosing cocoon, if you will. And I love the way that you were sharing all of the different parts of embodying it. And it really can shift by the moment, depending on which either insecurity or trigger pops up that makes us want to doubt what comes next, that seeks to essentially get us to block our blessings. Because I know when I'm feeling more high vibrational excited, if we can imagine being in the cocoon, but you can feel the body of the butterfly and you poke out a little hole in it and you're seeing this light and it's so blinding and you're discombobulated in your eyes, but at the same token, you're like excited because you're like, oh, this feels warm. This is new. What's that? You know? But then there's the other times, like if doubt or unworthiness tries to snatch me back up, then I'm kind of like, oh, this is too bright. Ow, this is hurting my eyes. Like, let me just get back under the covers of this goo and this cocoon, and I'm gonna just chill for a minute and it's all fine. Like, there's still some kind of nectar up in here. I can sustain myself, you know? And it's just like, it's just so real. And I'm sure hopefully that wasn't too graphic for y'all, but I think you feel me.
I feel you. I feel you so much. It was so visual, but also so relatable. And that's exactly it. I love what you said when you said block our blessings, because that's what we're doing in these moments. We are all on the brink. You're on the verge of something absolutely magical. And that's what this conversation is about. Like, yes, it gets dark. Yes, there's shadow. Yes, you might lose people. And in the moment, all of those things can feel like the worst thing that can happen. But in about 2 seconds, you're about to find out that that was the best thing that could happen to you. The only way to find out, though, is to go through it. And that is the battle, the internal battle of trusting. Trusting, if I keep going, things will work out. Because how do you know until you do it? And so I loved when you said block our blessings, because that is exactly what is happening. We are stopping ourselves. We go back into the cocoon, right? But when you remember, let me just try to go out. I can always go back in if I really want to. Let me just step out into that bright light and see what happens. And it's going to be blinding and beautiful. And so, with that, Maya, do you have anything to add?
Yes, I love the direction that you guys are both really sharing. So I really want to share, just think of an arrow. When you're pulling your arrow and your bow, there's so much pressure. You don't even know where it's aiming sometimes if you're really new to archery. But once you let go, it is so fast forward. And so for those of you who have experienced the miracles, it's within a snap of your finger, your whole life has just completely changed. And so what we really want to share with you guys with this specific metamorphic conversation is that there is the dark side and it's real. And then there is the bright side of why it is so worth it. So, Dill, what we would love to hear from you is what can our listeners expect to learn from you two on Friday?
Well, thank you so much, Maya. Well, always I say arrive with an open heart and open mind. And I would say you're going to receive just some very real testimonies and experiences of what does it feel like to be in the midst of a big leap of faith, a big transition, this metamorphosis in the cocoon, right? Because a lot of times whenever we get into these life, death, and rebirth metaphors or analogies, we see that, you know, we focus on those very literal stages, like, okay, dead, now I'm reborn. Like everybody's excited to go into the Phoenix phase. And what I've been discussing with folks recently has been, we need to fully surrender to the death and becoming dust, feeling what it's like to be dust, and then feeling what it is like to come into new form of the new life, into the new Phoenix. You know what I'm saying? It's not just a automatic into the new. It's like you've really got to feel those new particles. So hopefully we can have a very intuitive flowing conversation where you hear all about that and a lot more goodies.
Yes. So what I hear you saying is one of the things that our audiences will be able to learn is a practice in this life and death kind of a cycle, right? And when we say life and death, we're not talking about the physical grieving of losing somebody, but there is a grieving in losing a part, not even losing, right? We're allowing that part of ourselves to shed. And so I think this is one of the most important practices, but know that we are going to be sharing so many more for you to not only embody your light, but how to also navigate through the darkness and the struggles and also be able to find community around that too. That's why we would love to invite you to come, because in this space on Unboo, it's not about us. It is really about us creating the space for you to share exactly where you are at in your process. You are not alone, boo. And it is so healing to share. And if you have questions, because that's another thing, when you are looking around and seeing the people around you are not on this path, knowing that someone else is either on it or they've done it, and to bring in these questions that you have to give you that certainty that you are 100% on the right path. If it feels good for you internally, that's all that matters. So please come with your stories, with your questions on Friday, December 10th at 5 p.m. Central European Time, 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. The link is in our bios, and we will see you guys there.